I could take a bear cracker and press against your skin, and it would taste like a perfect Ritz. That's how salty you are. Yeah.
I'm pretty upset. I'm very upset.
I know you are. I know you are. Welcome to another edition of a Popcorn Bucket List. And are you okay? You didn't do any dancing or anything before we started.
Oh, I was in my own head.
Yeah, you were deep in thought there for a second. I was just making sure you're okay there. You seem.
I was thinking about Pokemon cards, and then I looked over at my Oppenheimer book, and I just thought, man, that was such a good movie.
And then I completely blacked out of everything else that was going on around me.
All right, that's a way to start a show, I guess.
That's what happened.
I guess we're both kind of in our own heads here because we're focused on the big thing here. Oscars Challenge Volume 5.
The big one.
The big one, yeah. It is award season. Well, it's been award season.
It's been award season.
But the 97th Academy Awards is on their way here this weekend, which means we will be going head-to-head for the 5th time to claim movie betting superiority. It's not really. It's us guessing what we think the Hollywood elite liked more.
That's right, because it's not picking what we liked more, what was actually better. It's what do we think the Academy thinks is good.
AKA, how much did they get bribed?
Yes.
But yeah, well, we've talked about this a little bit more last week as far as our plans and everything. In years past, we just would watch it by ourselves individually in our own humble abodes. This year, we are going to be doing a live stream of us watching the Oscars. You can watch it along with us then as well. And you too can participate in the Oscars Challenge. Now, we are going to be going head-to-head still. Whichever one of us is leading the other is going to win our individual bet thing here. But you can have the chance to potentially win a prize as well if you pick the most right. I found an old Pick'em website that I've used for football on ESPN. They're doing this Oscar thing as well. It's really easy to do. Just look at the 5 options, except for Best Picture. Obviously, there's 10 options there. We'll get a little bit more into that later on. And just guess your best. Even if you don't know any of the movies, sometimes it is, we mentioned this last week as well, sometimes it's easier to pick these not knowing or have not seen any of these movies.
Yeah.
Because like you said, sometimes we'll watch a movie and it's like, I didn't like that one as much, so maybe we don't think of that one when we're coming to make our picks.
Yep.
And that ends up being our detriment. So
it does, because sometimes it's it's like how if anybody thought this movie was award winning, you're crazy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then sometimes it's like, the complete opposite.
So yeah, if you want to watch the show, we will be going live on our Omni Facebook page Sunday night, 5:45. We're going to start a little bit before the ceremony actually starts, kind of talk about it a little bit and everything. Just kind of warm up before we get into the actual show. And then depending on when the show ends, it should end around 9:30ish. We'll probably do about a 15-minute recap. We're going to try to end at 9:45. Give it a nice tight 4 hours there.
Tight.
Which, 4 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're going live the whole time.
When you're in show business,
4 hours is an eternity.
4 hours is a long time.
That's like longer than I think most NFL games. Most of them are like 3 hours.
Shorter than most MLB games.
There we go. We're coming for you, MLB. And we just lost our entire baseball fan base.
Yeah.
But again, so yeah, if you want to check that out, check it out on Facebook. And we'll probably provide a link to the Pick'em as well on Facebook, more than likely over there as well. We'll try that out. So that way we can get as many people involved with this as possible. So looking forward to that this Sunday. But speaking of the Oscars, that's going to move us into our opening spotlight. We're going to give a little bit of a 2025 Oscars preview. We're going to go over essentially, we really don't have time to go over all the awards. There's like there's like 23 of them, 25, something like that.
There's so many.
So we're going to go over what's called the Big Five. Technically, it's 5, but there's technically 6. Because screenplay, there's like 2 different versions of screenplay. but it's supposed to represent writing. So it's the Big Five, but it's technically 6. So technicality.
It's kind of like the Gophers are in the Big Ten, and there's like 15 teams in there now.
Yeah, it's weird how they do that. This isn't. I mean, do we not know how to do math anymore?
It's all about this.
Numbers still have their value though, right? I didn't just make those up.
Hearsay.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's correct, but I didn't go to law school, so I guess the first thing actually to talk about though is this year's ceremony being hosted by Conan O'Brien. What are our thoughts on that?
I like Conan O'Brien. Hopefully, he can deliver a strong comedic performance because I think when these are funny to the audience at home and less funny to the audience there, I think they do better, if that makes sense. I don't want him playing to his audience there. I want him playing to America and the rest of the world. I want him playing to that audience, not to that audience.
I will say, I think one thing that is actually to his advantage is, a lot of times hosts, they don't hold back too much when it comes to these when they're making their jokes and everything. I think for him especially, he can really not hold back. It's not like he's got a late night show to go to. Yeah. Yes, he still does like a podcast and a talk show kind of thing, but it's not like he's got a big network conglomerate to please or whatever.
Yeah, he can really get after it, and I hope he does. Because let's say there's a lot of things they could talk about, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think Conan's funny. When I heard he was going to be hosting, I was excited for that as well. Yep. But let's get into some of the awards here. Like I said, a couple of screenplay ones, adapted and original. Let's just quickly go over them here, kind of give our quick thoughts. Best Screenplay Adapted, 5 nominees: A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Now, for the record, the difference between adapted and original, adapted more often than not is based off a book.
Yep.
There's other examples too, but mainly it's usually off a book. But, what do we think of this one here?
Love it. I'm hoping and rooting for Conclave. Loved it. I thought they really brought the story, and it's kind of hard to make an interesting, compelling story about a bunch of priests that do priest things, like deciding who the next pope's going to be. Like, it's interesting, but for like 2 hours, you know what I mean? You have to have good act. You got to have it, and it was there. It was awesome.
I could see a Complete Unknown winning this one here. I don't know, just because I feel like with Conclave, it didn't. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It didn't bridge a generational gap like the Bob Dylan movie.
No, I was gonna say like it didn't seem like something you would think about as an adapted screenplay. Like if I watched Conclave and you were like, well, is this original or adapted? I probably would have said original. Mm-hmm. And maybe then I'm just not thinking of it as much for adapted, I guess is what I'm kind of trying to say here, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently Conclave was based off a book. Yeah. A fiction book, I should say.
And I guess I didn't know the Bob Dylan movie was based off of a book. I didn't know that.
It was probably like a biography. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of like loopholes and different avenues you can go with that. But let's go into original screenplay then. These are the ones that are not based off of anything. This was just someone wrote it down in the script, and that was the first version there was of it. Anora is one of the nominees, as well as The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance. I'm most surprised September 5 was an original script. You would have figured there would have been a book or some biography, again, similar to A Complete Unknown. Yeah. Because, again, this one is also based off a true story.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised to see that one in original, at least. But any thoughts you have on that one?
No. It's hard because I haven't seen a lot of those yet. But The Substance, I think, to me, seems the most original because of just how kooky it is. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, I'd like to see the underdog win this one, A Real Pain, because it's only nominated for 2, and this is one of them. And I'd like to see, because I think it was Eisenberg who wrote this script as well as directed it and starred it, because it was like based loosely off of some of his life events or something like that.
Okay.
So this is one of those, I'd like to see the underdog win. I have a feeling Anora and Brutalist and probably The Substance are going to win a lot of awards as well.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling by the time you get to that end of the night, you're kind of like, come on, let the little guy win.
Kind of
but
like
it's too late.
when Mad Max kind of took over.
You know, kind of, yeah, I guess. But that was kind of a little guy winning some of the awards, though.
It was.
Nobody expected
It was.
Mad Max to win a bunch of awards
No,
that
and
year.
then the best was I believe it was Louis C.K. was doing like best
Yeah.
animated documentary or something, or best short film or best documentary, and he's like, and the award goes to Mad Max Fury Road, and it was like, it's so funny.
Because it had like won like 2-3 in a row there. It
Yeah.
was weird. But let's move on to the acting categories. Best actor. I would argue this probably has some of the most recognizable names. Adrian Brody in The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo, he's been having a really good couple of years here. Ralph Fiennes, Conclave, Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. I was surprised Sebastian Stan got The Apprentice nod and not For a Different Man. Because that one got a few nominations as well.
Yeah.
And I was willing to bet money before the nominations came out. I was like, he's probably going to get it for that.
Yeah.
But no, got it for The Apprentice one, I guess. So.
Yeah. You know, I don't know who. It's probably going to be, I don't know, probably Timothée Chalamet. But I love Ralph Fiennes. So, like, I don't know if this performance is strong enough to give him an Oscar for it. But he's kind of, I'm always rooting for him.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
I could also see Coleman Domingo pulling this one off. I feel like when you see
What movie was that?
Sing Sing.
Okay.
And I think that one only got 3 nominations. And when you see kind of some of these other movies that get like 10, 11, and then you have one that has only like 2 or 3, but one of them is in one of the big categories,
Yeah.
that performance has to be spectacular, has to stand out for it to get in there. So I can see that one as like an underdog win, though, as well.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
My question is, if Sebastian Stan wins for The Apprentice, how many Trump jokes do you think he makes?
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah. I almost want to see him win just to see that.
Just to see that.
Just to see how many.
Yeah.
Just to see how many.
Well, what if he wins and he goes, you know, guys, Trump really isn't that bad?
I met him. It's all an act. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or he blows something. I don't know. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Best actress, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I was a little surprised by that one. Carla Sofia Gasson for Amelia Perez. Mickey Madison for Honora. Demi Moore, The Substance. Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. I think this one's... I don't know. I can't think of necessarily a front runner here. Yeah, I think... Okay, so we love the sort of comeback story, though, as well. What do you think are Demi Moore's chances here?
I think pretty good. Didn't she just win at the Screen Actors Guild Awards?
You'd have to tell me. I haven't watched
I'm pretty
this yet.
sure she won for
I think it's plausible. I definitely think it's plausible.
I think she has a chance because I remember this movie was very short run here and I didn't have a chance to see it. I'm pretty sure something else came out and I was busy, so I wasn't able to go see it while I was here. But as soon as it left, I just heard from all over the place how people loved it, and I was like, dang it.
Yeah, so definitely one to keep an eye out there, I feel like. But then let's move into Best Director. Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbett, The Brutalist, James Mangold, The Complete Unknown, Jacques and Adidard, Amelia Perez. I should have apologized at the beginning of names. I'm surprised I got this far, honestly.
Yeah, you're doing great.
I'm feeling good. Corley Farget in The Substance.
Did you forget Nosferatu?
I didn't forget, the Academy did.
Oh, it didn't make the list?
No, I didn't make the list. That's the 5 right there. Sorry. Maybe next time, bud.
It's all right. All right.
Yeah, so there's the 5.
I'm not salty.
Yeah, whatever. I could take a bear cracker and press against your skin, and it would taste like a perfect Ritz. That's how salty you are. Yeah,
I'm pretty upset. I'm very upset.
I know you are, and maybe rightfully so. It was a pretty good movie. It did get more. We talked about this before, though. Nosferatu did get more nominations than I thought we were going to see from it. So.
Yep.
Take the victories where you can.
Yep.
The main thing I want to talk about with this category, though, is people complain all the time how when you compare Best Director to Best Picture, how there's movies that get Best Picture, but then they don't get Best Director. There's only 5 Best Directors. There's 10 Best Pictures. Some of them aren't going to make the cut, people.
It's true. And sometimes a director on a film compared to a director on a different film can be vastly different. Vastly different. Something with, I would say, more along the lines of like the Avengers, for example. You're working a lot with CGI. You're working a lot probably with stand-ins and action choreographing and doing all of that. As compared to a film like Conclave, you are tight in the room, communicating with them and getting emotions out that way. Whereas, you know, they're just different. That's going to be more demanding. You might have to have a better, bigger picture idea with more of those Avengers big type movies, but the ones that are smaller and personal, you have to be like in there.
It kind of depends on what do you think is the most important job of a director. Is it to get the perfect performances out of the actors, or is it to take this world and somehow find a way to confine it to screen and block it and figure out how to stage that and to bring it to life?
Yep.
I could make the argument. I'm not saying I'm necessarily disagreeing with you, but just to play devil's advocate here. So, for example, people complain Denis Villeneuve didn't get Best Director, despite the fact that Dune Part 2 got Best Picture. So, to your argument, you're talking about big CGI. It's not like Conclave, where you are kind of more in depth with the actors and focusing on the actors. I would argue it's the actor's job to make sure they're getting the best performance, and that it is the director's job to be more figuring out how to get this big world realistically filmed. That's just, I'm just saying that argument for devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, so. I can see points for both of them, but they're just different, and depending on, you know, and I'm sure obviously that the people voting and deciding all of those, they're a little more in touch with that than,
that's the other thing
than
too.
We are.
Exactly.
I don't really know.
I think they have more of that mindset of where they're focusing on the performances and out of the actors, as opposed to figuring out how to get a giant sandworm to charge towards an army. You know, it's hard to compare those.
It is. It's hard. It's hard
because there is no comparison.
No,
you can't look at Conclave and judge it the same way you would necessarily do in Part 2 or whatever.
Yeah, or even Part 1.
Yeah. Whatever. But let's move on then to Best Picture. Like I said, 10 pictures here instead of the usual 5. Every other category has got 5, but here we got 10. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe we talked about this last year. Didn't that start in like after 2008?
Yeah, because they're all salty. Some movies
because the Dark Knight didn't get it. I think was what happened.
Yeah. What was the winner of that year?
I don't remember. I just know Dark Knight didn't get a nomination, despite the fact that Heath Ledger got supporting actor nomination, and then people were like, "Well, you should put up the Dark Knight too, or whatever." But it was still only 5, so this like opened it up or whatever. But yeah. They moaned and cried about that just to get a comic book movie, and it took about 10 years till finally Black Panther did it.
Yeah.
But here are the 10 Best Picture nominees of this year in alphabetical order: Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. It is worth mentioning I'm Still Here, I believe, is also up for international film. We usually see about 1 or 2 of these sneak in as well.
Like Parasite.
Exactly, like Parasite. Exactly. All right, what are our thoughts on this one? I know you got thoughts on one of them, and I feel like you've been holding back.
Yeah, you'll hear about it live.
You're saving it for live?
Yeah, I'm saving
that
it for
worries
live.
me even more.
Well,
I'd like you to get a
try
little bit
to
of out of
figure
it
out
now.
how, there's a couple movies that I watch and I don't. I just don't know how Nosferatu didn't make it in there, and some of these other movies did. That I'm gonna leave it at that. Most of these films,
which one specifically?
Understand? There's a few of them.
I
wish I would have known The Substance was going to be this high praised, because I'm really mad I didn't get to see it in theaters, and I think that would be a superb movie to watch in a movie theater. Also, a lot of times if your movies go straight to Netflix or streaming services.
We've talked about this before. That's not as much of a death sentence as it used to be.
I know. I still
They're
feel
building a whole studio just to make their own movies now. That's not a death sentence. That is them saying, we are trying to get into the game.
Yeah, and that's great and all. Go play it at a movie theater. I personally, I wish all movies came out to theaters 2 weeks before they were available anywhere else, which I'll die on that deathbed.
You mean
2 weeks.
You mean die on that hill?
Yeah.
Because the deathbed, you're going to die regardless.
Unless I'm a vampire and I rise at night.
Oh my God.
But no, I just missed the 2-week window for theaters. That's it.
But here's the other thing. With these streaming services now doing a lot of their own original content, it has made it so there is more options. If you only were able to send it to...
Call it a TV movie then. Don't
okay,
call
so
it a
now you're
movie.
going into the Steven Spielberg argument. Where
Yeah.
I remember he, years ago, said these movies that are technically are technically going straight to Netflix or and Hulu and all that,
TV movies.
they should be TV movies, and they shouldn't be
Films.
They should not be put up for Oscars. They should go for Emmys.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect fine argument.
I'm not saying
think-
I agree or disagree. I'm just saying that's something he said too.
I agree a lot more with that. Where there is a place for that. There is place for some of these movies, but I want big cinematic movies, films, moving pictures. That's what I want.
I just don't think you're gonna get that wish though.
I know, and that's fine. I can't get everything you want. So Bob Dylan told me once.
Does he actually say that in the movie?
I don't
It's been
know.
a while
I don't
since
know if he says it in the movie, but
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Any other maybe front runners we're thinking for this one though?
you know, I need to check on how the Brutalist is doing. I know everybody was talking about it, but I haven't seen it. I haven't really followed it. Amelia Perez is up for like 13. I don't see that one winning. Mark my words, I can be wrong. I've been proven wrong a lot on movies. Wicked's good. Do I think it's Best Picture? I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
didn't know
it.
about that one either.
I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't think it was amazing. Honestly, in my opinion, the best movie of the year. Honestly, my honest opinion is the best movie of the year is not even on here, and that's. I'm very biased though, but that's my opinion. What do I think the Academy is gonna do? No idea.
Well, apparently you have some idea. You've gotten it right the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's just because I know how people think out there.
You spend like well, you did spend a little time out there, so yeah, you do.
I did. I put in some time out there, and
You did that just so years down the line you would eventually.
I did that for this
you
moment.
You did that, and then you let me win 2 years in a row
Yeah.
for me to build my confidence.
Yep.
Sneaky
Yep,
little bugger,
that's-
you.
that's it.
Sneaky little bugger. I'm trying to think what would be the one I would put in here. Because I know Dune Part 2 was one of my favorites. That one made it up here. I guess not necessarily for this category, but I do know Will and Harper didn't get documentary nomination.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorites of the year, and it had gotten documentary nominations in other awards shows, so I was disappointed to see that one not here. I would have liked to have seen Saturday Night, a little bit more representation.
Yeah, that was one.
I don't know. Best Picture.
Did that get up for anything at all?
Not for the Oscars? I don't think.
Okay.
Because
Because I really wanted to see that one too.
yeah. Let me double check. I don't think it got any Oscar ones. No, it doesn't look like it.
But I will say that's also the beauty of film and cinematography is everything's subjective. Obviously, we disagree on movies sometimes, which what we think were good or bad, or this is better than that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of it. And, at the end of the day, even though I harp on movie theaters and streaming services, I still want you to go watch stuff and think about it. It's and I'm just one opinion out of many, and some people can watch things on Netflix or their phones and get the same out of it that I got out of it watching it in a movie theater. So,
Do you think you would have liked Amelia Perez more if you saw it in the theater?
no.
Okay, well then that just knocked the legs onto your under argument.
Yeah. I tried to be nice.
Got him right at the end. But let's move then into the weekly preview. Talk about a couple other movies here that probably won't be up for Oscars here, if I'm going to be completely honest. But hey, you never know.
Yep, never know.
Well, we kind of know.
Coming
out Friday, February 28th, Last Breath, coming to theaters. This is apparently loosely based on a true story. about a couple of divers, one of which gets stranded on the ocean surface. Now they must find a way to rescue them without putting the whole team or the whole crew of this ship at risk. Stars Woody Harrelson and Shang-Chi himself, Simu Liu from Marvel. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the job is that they're doing here, but
I don't know. Yeah, if it's like underwater welding or I don't know.
It doesn't look like an oil rig.
Yeah.
But it looks dangerous and it looks intense.
Yeah.
So it does have that going for it.
Yeah, and I love Woody Harrelson. He's the man. I think this is going to be really good. Hopefully on the edge of your seat the whole time. Yeah, Woody Harrelson, he's quite the actor. He's quite talented.
Yeah, I don't see him slowing down anytime soon here. But,
No.
yeah, I guess if you, I know some people are kind of afraid of underwater being trapped down there. I think that's like a phobia and everything. Definitely don't check this one out because it looks like it has more underwater scenes than either of the Aquaman movies.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time down there.
They spend a lot of time. And I'm wondering how much of it was practical. Like, how much did they actually do, like, in some, diving situations? Usually it's just the bottom of a 5-foot pool or a 7-foot pool, but it's still cool.
It looked like the close-ups, I think they probably did with them, like they just put them in a pool, they shut off all the lights and make it completely dark, dirty up the water a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I would like to think they did a lot.
Same. I hope so.
I mean, Woody looks like he's kind of also getting an easy paycheck though. He's kind of just in that one room himself throughout a lot of it.
Yep.
So, he didn't have to get wet. I wonder if that was in his contract. Look, I'll do it, but I ain't swimming.
I'm not swimming.
I'm not swimming. Also coming out here this weekend, A Sloth Story. Coming also to theaters, an animated movie about the fastest sloths who can run a popular food truck. They move to a new town and make a rivalry with another restaurant owner. A family conflict leads to the rival getting a hold of the family's secret recipe book. Now they have to steal it back. There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot.
I remember the trailer seemed kind of slow at the beginning, and then it really picked up, and I think it actually looks pretty good. I like the style of animation. It's different than, it's hard to say it's different, but it seems like every time these new animated movies come out, they're doing something slightly different than what we've seen before, and I think that's going to be beneficial for this film.
Yeah, as silly as that concept does seem, it did actually, the story itself reminded me a lot of Coda. Speaking of Oscars and all that movie I talked about, it's one of my favorite movies from the past few years, where you have the daughter wants to kind of start her own life, wants to kind of go down her own path that isn't part of the family business, but the family needs her, and thus conflict ensues.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie, and it actually is a very similar story here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm with you. It just is interesting. Well, at first I was like, why did they have to be sloths? But it does look like it's kind of set in like a Central America or South America area, and I did look it up because I didn't think sloths were from there, so I was going to call them out on it. No, that's primarily where they're from. So that just shows how much Nick knows of the world.
Yeah.
So, all right, you win this time, animators. You and your funny animal movies. But anything else we want to say on this one?
It was funny because at first I was like, is that the sloth from Zootopia? And I was like, nope, no, it's not.
You expect them to do that same joke, but no, they actually are like. When I first read they're the fastest sloths, I thought they were going to be still slow, but they're just faster than all of them. No, they're running and everything.
Yeah. Well, I honestly thought it was just a side a side project, a spinoff of Zootopia.
Yeah.
I thought it was good because
it does look like them. It does. That you bring it up. But also coming out this weekend, My Dead Friend Zoe. This movie takes a hard look at what it's like for former service members and their life after war, especially when they've lost someone over there. One thing to really add credibility to this movie, I read, is the director of this movie was a part of the U.S. Army. So
that's cool.
Did serve in Afghanistan and all that. So you can feel that authenticity here just from the trailer alone, I think. But I don't know. What do you think about this one?
I think it looks awesome. At first, I was like, okay, this is a little bit too cheesy. And then it kind of pulls down the curtain of oh, hey, that's a ghost she's talking to. And then
I hated that they spoiled that in the trailer, but I have a feeling it's going to be such a thing they established so early on in the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Because then it's also her character or her dad or grandpa.
I think it's grandpa.
Yeah. Or not Ed. Yeah, Ed Helms.
Yeah, Ed Helms. Yep.
First off, he's fantastic. I absolutely love him. And I'm pretty sure he has the same thing. He sees his buddy or his wife or somebody, and yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
I'm with you. I was very, very surprised by this trailer. I was not expecting a lot. I thought it was going to be, kind of cheesy, like you said, but it does that on purpose so that it does pull the rug from under you, and it's like, no, this is what they deal with when they come back. And it also shows that generational difference with the grandpa. He's like, I didn't even think of that. He probably is dealing with the same thing, but he's not looking for help for it. He's very vehemently like, nope, you don't go to therapy and all that, where she's like, no, I'm looking for help for this.
Yeah.
But it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned Ed Harris is in it, Natalie Morales, Sonequa Martin Green, as well as Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Morgan Freeman makes a little
simple paycheck for him, I think.
Yeah, a little bit, but
yeah.
Whatever. It's a good. It does look good. I think it's going to be a good one if you check that one out. But last but certainly not least, Riff Raff, also coming to theaters. We thought there's a lot going on in the Sloth movie. There's a lot going on in this one. I watched the trailer. I had to read a summary, and then I tried to watch the trailer again to kind of figure it out. Here's the main thing you need to know. It's a very star-studded cast, including Ed Helms again.
Yeah.
Ed Helms double feature here this weekend.
Yeah.
Also stars Jennifer Coolidge, Bill Murray, Gabrielle Union, and Pete Davidson. I think I'm missing someone somewhere, but quite a bit.
There's a lot.
Crime comedy, I guess is the best way to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say that. I would say in the veins of Baby Driver or I guess I don't know where else to go with that.
It's just, I feel like you need a rundown of every character's relation to another.
Yeah.
Because that was the part where I was getting confused.
It's what?
Who's married to who?
Yeah.
Who's what? Okay, this person
this person did that to who?
Is this person no longer a part of the crime business or still in it?
I'm thinking once, obviously the movie they'll explain it, but the trailer was not helpful to understand what was going on.
I wish they had avoided that and just kind of focused a little bit more on potential one-liners.
Yeah.
Because there was a few, but I don't know if there was any that were terribly funny.
Yeah.
Which also might be a bad sign as well. But
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, star-studded cast. Never thought I would have seen Pete Davidson and Bill Murray working together, though.
Yeah, true.
And maybe in a cameo in one of each other's movies, but
not buddy cop movie almost.
Exactly. Yeah. Did not have that on my bingo card for sure. But let's wrap up this episode here with another edition of Number One Recommends. I believe it's your turn to go first this week.
Since it's the last episode before the Oscars, I'm saying go watch Nosferatu. It is the best film on the list from last year. Go check it out.
And it did just get put on Peacock.
Boom. I think it actually got an extended cut. I think it's a couple minutes longer.
Well, yeah. Yep.
Not one of those hour-long Peter Jackson extended cuts, but...
or a 4-hour-long Zack Snyder thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
That one was better.
Debatable. All right, mine. I'm going to jump onto the Conclave bandwagon. Speaking of Peacock, I was able to watch this one on that streaming service as well. And, this one went...
So good. Oh,
this one went pretty straight to the top of my Best Picture list so far.
Yeah.
And, I think it's going to get quite a few of those awards. It adds a little bit more conspiracy, but I feel like the trailer made you think there was going to be more of it, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is it's kind of a slow-moving story, but you're interested the whole way.
Yeah.
Because you're learning this along with Ralph Fiennes, and you don't really know who's going to say or do next. There's one last little twist, I feel like, at the very end that I feel like they didn't need just because...
Oh, they needed it.
Okay, we'll talk about that after the fact, I guess. But because maybe I missed something then. But overall, I thought it was a good time. Great performances all around. And, I do think this does deserve its nomination in writing and screenplay. It wasn't the one I thought it was an original one. So I was almost disappointed to see it and adapted. So that's why I don't think it's going to win there. But anyways, so a couple of Oscar-nominated films there for you. And with that, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Final reminder to watch our Oscars live watch party this upcoming Sunday. We're going to start the stream at 5:45 p.m., so 15 minutes before the actual show begins. And if you want to participate in the Oscars challenge, either message me on Facebook, check out our social media channels. We'll probably put a link there as well. For myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.